The following radio show is live, except for the announcement you're hearing right now.
Welcome back to Your Island Live with your host, Tom Schilero, on 103.9 LI News Radio.
And once again, welcome back. We're going to move kind of quickly right now. We got Ken Bombace on the line. Ken is at the airport, ready to get on the plane, but he did not want to disappoint our listeners. Ken, how are you, my friend?
Great, Tom. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, always a pleasure. Now, I know we're all pressed for time. And by the way, folks, we'll take some phone calls right after the segment with Ken Bombace. Ken, this thing has really started to heat up. I'm almost thinking there's a free press. I'm seeing the media on the left, media on the right, that are really questioning these documents that the president had while he was vice president. They keep finding new ones to the left, to the right, to his home, right by his Corvette or whatever the heck he's talking about. So it's kind of interesting that people are really pressing this president on that. Your thoughts? And is there anything here to see, or is it just the way it is?
So I agree with you. It's refreshing to see both sides, media from all networks, challenging this, every single day over and over in the White House press briefing. And it's inspiring to me to see that. And I'll tell you, Tom, this entire ordeal is offensive to me. Being someone who has handled top secret information, SCI information, by the way, in skips many times, when you do that, exactly how important it is, the information that you're handling. So for people to handle this information so carelessly, not just for President Biden, but President Trump also, to me is shocking. I never would have thought that it was that easy for them to mishandle this information and end up in a garage with like debris. Top secret, relevant, recent top secret information. To me, that's totally shocking right now. I think it's part of it is that our system, intelligence officers have to go on a skiff. There's a very strict process to view and handle this information. And maybe that's what they need to move to. Maybe instead of just leaving stuff lying around the Oval Office or wherever else they might be, these presidents and elected officials have to go into a skiff to view or handle this, and there's strict check and balance when they get in there to make sure that information is retained there and not removed. I don't think that's happening. And the world is watching right now, and it makes us look weak and vulnerable.
Yeah. It's almost like what's good for you is not good for me. I mean, when Joe Biden went up there and said that Donald Trump, when he took these documents, was careless, foolish, should never even be president again, and all at the same time, this guy had documents all over the place. And you're right, there's got to be a way in which to prevent this. When the person leaves the Oval Office on January 20th of the year after a presidential election, they should not be leaving with bags of paperwork or computer disks or whatever you want to say. They shouldn't be leaving with that. And it's not so hard to come out with a law that does that. And even what you're saying, that it shouldn't be something that they should be able to have to sit at a desk and read. It should be under a controlled environment. It almost seems like an easy fix, but it's not.
You're right. I mean, exactly what you just said. It's a sense of entitlement at the top levels, especially with our elected officials. It's like when they're leaving the White House, it should be, thanks for serving. Now open your bags. We need to view everything. You don't no free passes and then get out. That's how this system should work. That is U.S. information. That's not their information, that top secret classified information. That's our information. The people needs to be protected. And I agree with you. This is clearly a double standard. I mean, both of these situations where President Trump, President Biden show gross mishandling of top secret information. But, for them to have said in this case, the DOJ said, well, there's two reasons we didn't, the FBI didn't move in to investigate this. We didn't want to complicate the investigation in the future. And also the attorneys handed stuff right over. That is ridiculous. First of all, if I were President Trump, I would have been using a team of attorneys too, because he had been under attack nonstop for 4 years. They were trying to impeach him multiple times. I would have legal team handle it also. He was in negotiations with them. But in this case, with President Biden, to suggest that, well, they seem to be doing a good job, we'll let some private attorneys without clearances handle all this top secret information is ridiculous. And to say that, especially now that we've found new documents in multiple different locations where they shouldn't have been, and the FBI still isn't going to go in there and say, all right, this time we have to come in and make sure there's nothing else. That's ridiculous that they haven't done that. It seems clearly that that's a partisan decision by the DOJ to have done that. And there's so many questions right now that are posed from what we're seeing. Like, first of all, why were White House lawyers without proper clearances sent to find these documents? When they found these documents, why did they call the White House and not the FBI? And it was Garland's decision, I'm assuming, to not send in the FBI. Why? And not to complicate the investigation because they were cooperating. Trump had no choice to use attorneys, but he had to use attorneys in his situation. And now that we know these documents are classified, why are we allowing these attorneys to continue? And by the way, the Penn Biden Center, it's a whole other investigation. You have the Chinese donating $50 million to that university. You have people who moved into his administration from there. We had top secret information that no one seems to know how it got there. That in itself should be an independent investigation, I think. So there's a lot of questions right now, Tom.
Yeah. I'm watching the clock. I know you have to go, so you have a few minutes left. But here's something along the same lines, dealing with classified information and security clearances and so on. The new Speaker of the House of Representatives, Kevin McCarthy, is giving out committee assignments to his own members. And apparently he is blocking some Democrats from serving on certain committees. And usually the agreement is Democrats, you pick your members, what committees they want to serve on. I'll be able to be serving in the minority this time. And we'll pick our committee members serving in the majority, which seems the right way to do it. But Kevin McCarthy stopped Representative Eric Swalwell from, I think, serving on the Intel Committee, where he's already served. And he was very adamant about this. He said the FBI came to him meaning the new Speaker, and said issues about Eric Swalwell that should never allow him to have any sort of intelligence information. Now, I'm sitting here with bated breath on the tip of my, on the edge of my seat going, what the heck is this information? Do you have any way to look into this and saying, well, what do you think this is all about, for him to say that about a colleague? That this guy, if you knew what I knew, this is what Kevin McCarthy said, if you knew what I would know, this guy should never, ever have access to intelligence secrets. Could you speculate on that?
Yeah, I think maybe even a little more. I know that there was a scandal involving Swalwell where he was something to do with an inappropriate relationship with someone with a nexus to China, as if I remember. I will confirm that, but that's the scandal that I remember. And there's been a lot of questions about why he was even allowed to stay in office, let alone be on the Intel Committee, which would obviously be an incredible vulnerability for our country. So I'm pretty sure that's what this relates to, that he was involved in a scandal. Why was it not investigated further? Why was he not maybe removed from office? Well, politics, I would imagine. But I'm assuming that the Speaker knows more than what I've read in the news. And if he knows more than that, I would imagine it's pretty bad.
Yeah, and I can imagine it too, because the way he presented himself to the press that were listening, he was adamant. He said, "If you knew what I knew," oh my God! I said, "Wow, what do you know?" I mean, so we'll have to see. But in any event, safe flight. I know you're at the airport. I think you're getting on a flight, and we appreciate you taking the time out, because airports are crazy these days. And you have a safe flight. We'll talk to you again next week. Ken Bombace.
Excellent. Thanks, Tom. I look forward to it.